What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chart Request Live. My name's Patrick Dunawilla. I am the editor of the Chart Report. And joining me today, we got Sam Gatlin. Sam, how are you?
I'm doing well, Patrick. Thank you. It was a brutal weekend on the basketball front. Kansas Jayhawks lost to Missouri, second straight loss this week. So I'm going through a rough time on that front, but I'm here to talk about the markets. So let's get to it.
Yeah, it was really a story of the mega caps last week that really stole the spotlight. Perfect week for the Magnificent Seven. Not only did it go up every week, the Mags ETF I'm talking about closed at all-time highs every day last week. Here we are pulling back a little. If we manage to somehow close higher today, it's only down 0.5%. I guess it could happen. If it closes higher today, Sam, though, this is the longest daily winning streak for Mags since inception, but hasn't been around that long.
Pretty bullish nonetheless. I know Straza was pointing out on the morning show today that I think it was Delta Airlines has been up for like 16 consecutive weeks,
I
something
know.
obnoxious like that.
I
So we've
know.
seen a lot of just ginormous momentum thrusts.
A lot of those
It's not just the
travel
mags.
and leisure stocks have made a really nice comeback these last few weeks. I think it's what is it, PEG or no? Um, I'll forget what the travel and leisure ETF is, but it's not PEG, right? What am I thinking of?
I'm not sure.
Uh,
I was
anyway,
looking at, I tweeted a chart of the European Travel and Leisure Index looking to resolve
oh, interesting.
multi-decade base.
Even if we look at like cruise, right? That'll show something similar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
a little bit of
consumers are
profit.
spending money though. It's a bull market.
They
People
sure are. How
are
about
feeling good.
consumer discretionary last week? What a move. Uh,
Yeah, what a
really
move. That's
strong,
right.
really strong.
So Amazon, I think it's important to note, is a big component of this, and they are now getting into the GPU business. They are directly competing with NVIDIA.
Is
So
that the latest?
that's the latest. Like
This one was an
NVIDIA has
ugly
these
breakout.
ridiculous margins, and Amazon is there to cut into those margins, and they're willing to spend as much money as it takes. They don't give
Yeah.
a shit if it doesn't pay investors for years. They're looking long
Sounds
term.
like them.
So
This was a messy breakout, but once it went, it went. You can just see this the last few weeks really taking off here. And all those mega caps. Meta, what a week it had last week. Tesla, of course, was the strongest of all seven, 12% gain.
Apple too.
Yep, Apple.
Microsoft.
And another nice move from Apple today, too. If we look at today's daily candle, look at that thing. Open
That's
below
pretty
the range.
encouraging. Like you see a lot of the market,
Right.
they have candles that look like that, but they're red. And then you got Apple with
Palantir,
green.
right. Palantir nasty bearish engulfing candle, kind of the opposite of Apple's bullish engulfing candle.
Exactly.
But let's dive right into the mailbag.
Yes, I want to start with IGV.
Okay, good one to start
So
with.
Nick asked about IGV. Let's just go over what's inside of IGV real fast. So
Yeah.
the largest component is Salesforce. And you have Oracle, ServiceNow, Microsoft, Adobe, Palantir. And those are your top holdings. All have been major winners over the last several years.
Yeah, this thing broke out back in October, a couple months ago. 90 was really the level here. Once it broke 90, now you're looking towards 100, call it 115. I sometimes I like to draw my fibs based on closes and on the intraday wicks. And that gives you a little bit of a range here. You can see it's kind of approaching it. It's been red hot, but probably approaching an area where you want to start taking profits if you've been long. A little bit of a divergence here. I wouldn't worry too much about this. Yeah, maybe it fills this gap, but the
What does it look like over longer time frames, like a weekly RSI?
right, yeah, weekly RSI still confirming the new highs. No divergence there yet. So I wouldn't be too caught up about that bearish divergence just yet, but it is reaching the target there. Some consolidation here, maybe for a month or two, would be kind of smart to anticipate there. And then from there, we either consolidate there or we pull back, correct down to 90 again, revisit that level, or we just rip right on through, right up to the mid 150s here. And that's the next fib target for that. But really strong move, and it's been leading the tech sector while semis are just kind of hanging out, right?
Yeah, so would you say it's time for some intra-sector rotation once again? Like a few months ago, we were talking about selling our semiconductor stocks to buy these software stocks. Do you think it's going to be the reverse once again? Sell your
I
software,
think
buy semis?
I think you just want to kind of own both, a little bit of both. I think that's probably the move. I mean, tech sector
But
in
what do
general,
you overweight, Patrick? That's a cop-out answer.
I would say semis. Just because that fresh head and shoulders, looks like it's failing, and if it does, very bullish. Whereas software, it's been working. It's been the leader. Probably, time to take some profits. Probably not a great time to just start getting involved here after the incredible run it's had. But I also wouldn't want to go out there and short it and get aggressively bearish on software either.
Right. Me too.
Uh,
Good answer.
yeah, political answer right there. Uh,
Yeah.
But man, yeah, software, if this trend stays in place, then you got to stay with software, right?
Right. For sure. It's kind of easier for those companies to go up too. Like
Or I'm
semiconductors
sorry,
are just
if,
kind of
if this
cyclical
breaks
in
out, not,
nature,
yeah,
you
if
know.
this breaks out, not if the trend stays in place.
Right. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about Manulife Financial. So that's ticker MFC. This is a $56 billion life insurance company from Canada. So if you're
Okay.
needing Canadian financial exposure, this should get you done. This is a nice looking chart.
Yeah, sure is.
And shout out to Jeff bringing this along. Appreciate you, Jeff.
Yeah. Um, I mean, this was clearly your level here, right here.
Yeah. So we're at the highest level since the financial crisis, right?
Yeah,
2008.
these financials, I mean, they've been so difficult to own since then that I think they've just been under owned, and now you're seeing what happens when that happens, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and nice tight consolidation here. Doesn't want to even retest. Looks like it's tried to, but hasn't really done that. Kind of just building up pressure here for its next move. Um, I don't know, Sam. I would say that's bullish that it didn't go back and retest. What do you think?
Yeah, there's nothing more bullish than correcting through time instead of price. And that's exactly what's going on here. So there's clearly an interested party continuing to accumulate MFC. I think
Ooh,
you have a big institution on your side here. And I like that. I like to make my life easy. I like to just join uptrends and not fight trends. So
yeah, it
I
looks
like
like
where
the
your head's at here, Jeff.
44 would be next if this consolidation resolves higher. If not, you're looking. I wouldn't let it go below 30. 30 would be like a clear out point. Um, Now, I did see this kind of mess from all the way back in here. This could kind of create some pressure. This whole great financial pre-financial crisis mess. It's a lot of overhead supply to work through, but I don't hate it. I mean, it's moving in the right direction, and that was a long time ago too. So we'll see
Yeah,
how
and
much
like
those
I
highs really
think some
matter.
of these charts look very similar. Like you have seen kind of not entirely acknowledge those great financial crisis highs. So
Yeah, yeah,
like they just kind of diluted shareholders so dramatically back then that like maybe price isn't making new all-time highs, but market cap is making new all-time highs. I think
right,
that's something to consider.
right, and then the group has a lot of momentum behind it too. I think there's something to be said towards that, pushing it through those,
Yep,
those 2008 highs.
absolutely.
Kind of like the airlines right now, but with the pre-COVID highs instead of, their respective crisis highs. That was just as big of a crisis for that industry as the financial crisis was.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
So you
so
think
yeah,
you fade the United Airlines here?
I don't know what to do with United Airlines yet. I think you still just gotta. I think the jury's still out on the United Airlines. I think how it responds here, because this is either a retest or it's a failed breakout. I get why you might be looking for a failed breakout here because look at this RSI. I mean, like almost 90, and that's weekly RSI.
Yeah.
Uh, and
The
then
market
here,
was so offsides with this one.
right, right. I don't know if it was heavily shorted or what was going on here, but
Nobody owned it. Nobody
nobody owned it.
cared at
Right.
all about
Nobody.
airlines.
Yeah.
I mean, for a good reason,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
They
Even
suck.
after seeing this chart, it's hard to get excited about something that just hasn't worked for years, right?
Exactly.
But
And like in my economics courses in college, they tell you that the worst business possible to be in is airlines.
doesn't Buffett say something about
Buffett
airlines?
says it too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
common knowledge. So it's worth
It just sucks.
looking.
But that sort of thing leaves a group abandoned, right? And maybe that's what we're seeing here. I mean, really, I've been saying they've been struggling since COVID, but it was before that. I mean, this group has not been good ever, maybe. I mean, maybe you had brief spurts of outperformance, but you've never really had it be a leading sector for any sustained amount of time.
Right. It's pretty funny that Buffett got involved right before the COVID.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Gerber is asking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and wants to know
Uh,
which one is stronger. Is ETH likely to outperform now since Bitcoin dominance is coming down?
yeah, so I
Great
mean,
question.
I'm kind of watching the whole crypto space here for this kind of potentially failed breakout. I don't think it's the end of this cycle, but you could get a nasty correction here. I think just the fact that we've been struggling to even get a decisive close above 100. I think we've only had one close above 100. And then right after that, I mean, today it's just dumping. So, um, you had RSI not confirming that 100,000 print. You had, yeah, and not even getting overbought. So I think it is at, the broader crypto space. You can't rule out correction, like a significant correction here. And
I
in
think
that
it's
case,
important to look at like Binance, Ethereum, and Solana all kind of running
oh,
into
yep,
different
totally
spots.
right, right. And I mean, we've had such an incredible move that to be surprised by something like that, that's markets, baby. But to your point, as Bitcoin is kind of struggling at that really logical level of resistance, Ethereum tried to do it over the weekend, had that back-to-back dojis, and that's resolving lower. So you had that 2 days of indecision, and now we're resolving lower from that. I mean, I wish I could say that's good news, but it's not. And
This is very short term.
yeah, it is very short term, but a 20% correction in crypto could wipe out a lot of people. And maybe that's for the better, right? Maybe that's the sentiment reset that it needs, to wipe out some leverage and things like that. But struggling here at the former highs, I think you really just need to wait for Ethereum to have the convincing break above 4,000. We saw it kind of flirting with it, but we haven't seen that decisive breakout candle yet. And you
And
might be a
kind
little
of
late
this
to
is
it, but
to you, I mean, at least to me, this is a breakout from here is new all-time highs, right? You kind of ignore that blow off top
right,
from the prior cycle.
right. I think a breakout gets you to, yeah, through to all-time highs. Yeah.
Interesting. So the question was, do we want to own more Bitcoin or Ethereum now that Bitcoin dominance?
Now we got to look at that ratio. And Ethereum's just been terrible, but in terms of relative performance, but as bad as it's been relative to Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's up like what, like 130% or something, and Ethereum's up like 71%. So yeah, it's underperformed by a lot, but it's still up twice as much as the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq's having a great year. So this thing is still, it's not. I don't think you get too worked up on its underperformance relative to Bitcoin. Um, but just the ratio chart's just not really giving you a reason to um, Here, let's look at it on the opposite. A little bit. I mean, if we can, I'd like to see it reclaim this level here first.
Yeah, be a little scoop and score. That's when
Yeah.
you really flip the book long, Ethereum.
Um,
And
but
it stopped going down at a very logical level as well. Like we broke out of that massive base back in 2021. That's kind of just
yeah,
what it tested.
yeah. I mean, but if Bitcoin isn't clearing this 102 level, like kind of the top end of that fib extension, um, Ethereum is not breaking 4,000 just yet. Oops. Might need a little bit more time. Maybe you sell down to 3,200 and then, fourth time's the charm in early January or something, mid-January. Could happen. But I as nice as that milestone was, we are just really not responding well right now to it. So we'll see. Still a lot of time. The week is
Do you know if they launched Ethereum options? I know they just recently added
I don't know.
Bitcoin options.
I don't know. I don't know. Did they add them like to the futures, like the futures options?
I'm not sure about that. I'm talking specifically about like IBIT
Oh,
options.
okay. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um,
Interesting. I'd like to know that answer. You ready to move on though?
yeah,
Well, that's all we have from the chat or from the mailbag. So let's move on to the YouTube chat.
there we
Uh,
go.
we've got Mark Zerby hitting up the chat. He says, "What's up?
What's up?
What's up, Mark?" He wants to know about Arlo. This is Arlo Technologies, a $1.3 billion building product and equipment stock.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm
Um,
very familiar with this one.
I've seen this one floating around a couple times. Could you check out short interest on it?
Yeah, it's about 7% with 8 days to cover. It's not nothing.
Not nothing. Um, Not a super catalyst, but not nothing. I like it.
So it says they. All right, this is not really an industrial. Special situation here. They're doing like
The
some
tech.
cloud services and
Yeah,
AI.
I think they have. It might be like one of those, like almost like a competitor to Ring. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it's like surveillance camera. I could be wrong, but anyway, if this thing's above this, call it 13. Looks like it's trying to 1280 above there. Next stop 1470 here. I mean, you're just playing the 38.2 retracement to the 61.8. Maybe you take off half here, let the rest run on to this 17 level or even 15 if you want to play it a little more conservatively. Um, but yeah, I mean, 13 gets you to 1450-ish or 1470. 1470 gets you back to 17. But this
Very
one,
actionable right here today, though, for
totally,
sure.
yeah, yeah, very good point. Looks like it's ready to go higher after this little bottoming process. And
Yeah,
still a nice little uptrend in place leading into this too. So I like this. I like this a lot.
definitely. It didn't get oversold on this recent dip. Also, I'd love to see that the bulls have maintained control during this corrective wave.
Yeah, this is a good one. Nice job, Mark.
Thanks for bringing that to us, Mark. Let's move on to VMEO. This one comes from Donovan in the chat.
Donovan, I was just looking at this one yesterday and I was thinking, how is this thing $1 billion stock? That's it. This thing should probably be more. But anyway, Donovan's looking at the right place, I think.
Yeah, hard to argue with this chart.
Yeah, I really like this. Even if you're using a fib-based log scale here, um, I would buy a breakout above 750. That's what I would be looking for. And then 950-ish would be your first target right below $10. And then 19 would be your next target there. But this thing, do you know short interest on it? I think I looked at it
It's not
yesterday.
that much.
It wasn't material. That's
Yeah.
the thing with a lot of these like former ARC names, like Zoom, for example, right? A lot of the short interest is gone. And then you have something like Peloton that had like 22% short interest, And that mattered. That mattered on this little rebound. So I like to see the short interest, but you can't always get what you want, right?
Right. Unfortunately. Yeah, short
Yeah,
sellers aren't dummies. You know?
yeah. This one's really interesting to me though. This Vimeo above 750 really gets cooking, I think.
For
You
sure.
could you could even jump
We kind
it.
of use this, don't we? Get some boots on the
Yeah, we
ground
do. We
research.
do. Yep. Yeah, we do use Vimeo for some of our newsletters here. And I think Google bought YouTube for I want to say 1.6 billion back in the day, and it was like one of the best investments ever. I mean, if YouTube today was still a public company or was a stock, I mean, that thing would probably be what do you think? At least $100 billion, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it's
And
huge.
so you have a competitor like Vimeo. I mean, it's just a matter of time before they get bought by someone in the next 10 years. Trading at $1 billion market cap. This thing deserves more, but that's just my opinion. That's my
Maybe
that's
Zoom should merge
that was
with
my
them.
fundamental analysis for you guys. So, um, but yeah, 750 gets you to 950, 950 gets you to 18.
Love it. Let's move on to Nexa Resources. That's ticker NEXA. This one comes from Wavy McFly. He says
Baby,
long Nexa. Says thank you with a salute emoji. We salute you,
salute right
Wavy.
back to you. We salute you too.
So this is a not sure what kind of metals and mining they're into, but it's a metals and mining stock from Luxembourg. So if you need
Yeah,
Luxembourg exposure, this should get you done.
looks like an extremely thin stock.
It does have $1 billion market cap, so we will cover it for you, Wavy. I know it looks like
Yeah,
they are
it
producing.
trades like 20,000 shares a day, something like that. But
Be
anyway,
careful with this one, guys.
be careful with it. But
It looks like they primarily produce zinc out of their Latin American mines. So,
Wavy's never been afraid of a flyer. So
yeah,
um, eight
respect.
above eight gets you to 10. Real simple, straightforward with that one.
The risk could not be more well defined, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
very
thing of
good.
beauty.
Yeah, I mean, you could really risk 25 cents for this one to make $2. That's pretty good. Um, but I like this one, Wavy.
Yeah.
This is looks good above 8 to 10. I mean, that's just I don't think I need to say more.
I don't think this was on anybody else's radar. So
It wasn't.
this is awesome.
Wavy, we appreciate you for bringing all these names that we haven't seen.
Seriously. I think I'm just the biggest chart junkie, but then Wavy comes along with stuff like this.
There's some Latin American mine out there, and they're mining lithium, and yeah,
It's
they're
funny.
into dogs and cats, and yeah.
Let's move on. Steve Robinson is in the chat here. Mention the ticker PEJ. So this is Invesco's travel and leisure and entertainment.
That's what I was trying to look for earlier. Thank you. Where is it? Where? PEJ?
J,
Oh, hey,
not
wow.
G.
Wow. Well, dyslexia for you today.
So this one, it has the largest holding as Royal Caribbean, and then it has Formula One Group, Booking Holdings,
Formula
Expedia,
One's
Warner
I didn't
Brothers, Flutter, DoorDash, companies like that.
I didn't know Formula One was in this. I was looking at this one, and thank you for bringing this because this is the one I was trying to talk about earlier before I brought up Cruise. This one really clear level. If it's above 53, the breakout's on.
And it's kind of just goes along with that consumer discretionary trade,
Totally.
doesn't it? It's like we're
Totally.
betting on this being a bull market and the consumer
Totally,
being
yeah.
better than
Yeah.
ever.
In the top 10 report, when I featured this chart, the caption was "People are having fun again." It's all this worrying about recession and all that. Would these stocks be breaking out if the consumer was in trouble? Probably not.
Probably not. You saw
So-
how they behaved in 2020. They were some of the
Yeah, we
hardest
sure
hit
did.
stocks.
We sure did. Above 53 looks good to 74. And I like the diversity that this one gives you. You have a little bit of cruise lines, you have a little bit of Um, what was that second one you mentioned? Formula One. Yeah,
Yeah, Formula One
worse.
out of
Yeah.
all things.
What is that? Is that
Got
the
DoorDash.
FWONK? Is that Liberty?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know the F Wonk ticker.
F Wonk, yeah.
Good memory.
Oh yeah. Gotta love the F Wonk. I'm sorry, what did you mention?
It has, yeah, so it has Formula One and it also has DoorDash, which is kind of interesting, and like Warner
You know,
Brother Discovery.
I've been
An
saying it,
interesting
man. I think
basket.
DoorDash is gonna be buying Lyft soon.
Oh, without a doubt.
I don't mean to keep sharing my fundamental opinions here, but it's hard not to think that they're going to have to in order to compete with Uber. I mean, and the reason I say DoorDash buying Lyft and not the other way around is because look at the market cap, $73 billion market cap for DoorDash and Lyft, 6 billion, 7 billion. So, I mean,
Don't you think DoorDash could just leave Lyft to die and they'll die in a few years and not spend that $6 billion?
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I think they would have a better chance team beating their competitor if they teamed up, but
Sure.
man, 10 times the market cap for food delivery. Wow.
It's pretty interesting. I think Uber is above like 200 billion now. These stocks are no joke. No, not even close.
140. It can get there quick, so I don't blame you
Yeah.
for
I think it was close there at the all-time highs. Anyways,
yeah.
anything else to say about this?
No.
Hedge short. Let's move on to H-Chan in the chat asking about Wix. So Wix is pull it up, a $12 billion Israeli software stock.
Yeah.
Israeli software is some of the best software you can buy in the market currently. They've just been on fire. So this one is like in the website development business, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this one, I mean, it looks like it's approaching its target. It had a really nice move. I would be looking for price targets at this point rather than to start a position. Um, yeah, right around that
Wow, did it respect that
240
38.2?
it sure did, didn't it?
Wow.
Not only did it respect it, built a nice little base under it.
So if you get a retest of that, you back up the truck, right?
Yeah, I mean it depends. If he's long this, I would probably have my stop near these lows. So if it starts to fill that gap, you're out. And then maybe you get back in at a retest. But I think at this point, I think you still want to just err on the side of the upside target here at 240. Yeah, you've had a little bit of a pullback these last few days, but it had a really nice move at the end of November after earnings there. So I think you still want to be looking towards this to be a seller at this 240 level. But if it does check back, I think you can buy that retest. I think that's a viable retest.
For sure. Do you want to pull up the ARC Israel?
Is there an ARC Israel?
There's an ARC Israel. It's IZRL. So the ARC Israel holds some wicks, but it's not a big position. The biggest position is Fiverr.
This is one of the better looking ARCs, actually.
It's pretty equally weighted, but Israeli software has been a thing. I don't know what they are doing over there, but they seem to have it figured out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I like
this.
this.
So it holds like almost 50 stocks. It's pretty diversified, equally weighted.
It's interesting that this one is so far from its VWAP, whereas ARC, I mean, it's already above it. That's kind of interesting.
That is.
Maybe just
like there was a lot of volume done at the top there. Is that
right? Maybe a lot less volume being done down here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to make of that just yet, but interesting little tidbit.
It is. Let's move on.
If this one, I know we didn't really get asked about this one, but above 22 looks good to 27, and that's not a nothing move. That's a decent move.
For sure. And like if you overlay Wix with this, you can see that it was kind of a leader out of this base, and it's going to be one of the first to hit that 61.8 retracement. You know, you love to see that uh, relative strength versus its peers.
Yeah, you say this was the largest
No,
mix?
it's like number 10 or something.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it's pretty equally weighted,
Oh,
really.
okay. Makes sense. And if that one's a runner in it, then yeah. We got any
Sure.
more?
Yeah, let's look at. hmm, I'm sorry, Crazy Taxi. I requested a ticker that is too small for us. We try to stay above a billion around here.
Out of
Let's look
curiosity, what
at
is it?
let's look at Adobe. Dawson's asking about Adobe. They have earnings this week.
They do.
He thinks that's going to
Yeah.
be a big report. It's
I
been a
mean,
laggard versus
software is
its peers,
hot. Software is hot. This one has been a laggard.
a
Yep.
major laggard.
In software, you'd think these guys would get AI right if this really is an AI bull market, but kind of coiling up.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Intuit chart.
Okay. Yep.
Kind of not great. You
If
want it
it's
above that prior cycle high. You want it to get out of this range.
right, I mean this report could do it. It could send it to 700 there, but I think if it's above 500, you have to err towards 700. But yeah, disappointing reaction. I always like to react to earnings rather than trying to predict beforehand, but um, you really need to see it hold above this 500 level after earnings. I think if it doesn't, then you're looking down towards a retest of 400. Uh, but I would err on the side of the trend here, which is up. So 700, I'd be looking for on this move.
For sure.
Uh,
And will you benchmark this one to like we were looking at IGV earlier, and we're talking about this as a laggard. So let's show that. And this is what we're talking about.
yeah,
Making new multi-year lows versus this peer group. This is not what you want to see.
no, it's not. I think there's a chance it could reclaim this. I mean, that's what it needs. That's what I'd need to see it do is reclaim these former lows here.
That's a big ask, though.
Yeah,
Like,
these are bear market lows. Um, yeah, it needs to do that first before you get too excited about it, I think. But um, it'll be an interesting one. It would make sense, and that'd be really good for the group if this thing has a strong report. I don't know how big it is in IGV, but that could probably get IGV to the target, to its target.
that's a good point. So this is the looks like fifth largest holding, just over 6.25% weight in IGV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, but if this thing has a really big report, it's up 10, 11%, something, maybe, yeah, it would move the needle.
For sure.
Assuming all else is equal, assuming some software stock doesn't just totally fall apart,
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Let's
Sweet.
move on to China. A lot of people are talking about China today.
All right.
We've got,
Yeah.
we've got Elijah in the chat here asking about ATAT, ATAT. This is a tour lifestyle, Chinese hotels with personalized, immersive shopping destinations.
Who brought this?
This sounds like a bull market stock.
This is, well, it's fitting all the themes too. That's why I like this.
Yeah.
Who brought this?
My brother brought this one.
Dude,
He's
That was
good.
bringing the heat.
He's got a good eye.
Didn't he bring IonQ to that last time?
Yeah.
That was a good
Like I
one.
said, he's got a great eye.
Got a good eye. Yeah, this thing is this looks great. This might even be one of my favorites. If Donovan hadn't brought up Vimeo, this might be my favorite. But
This is my favorite. I mean, China is
yeah, this is
so
interesting.
hot right now. Like, you have all this helicopter money coming down from the sky. I mean, how do you not get involved? Right? Isn't that the way to look at it?
Yeah, and it's been abandoned. We talked about what happens when things just get completely underowned and uninvestable, right? I want to set a Google alert for that word, uninvestable. Next time something's uninvestable, just go buy it. This one, if it's above 2750, let's flip it out. This looks nice, and again, I like that it fits the travel theme. I don't know exactly what they do, but a tour lifestyle fits that. Sounds like it fits the travel and leisure. Okay, yeah, hotel, resorts, cruise lines. Above 2750 gets you to near 45. So this one setting up really nicely. Do we have short interest on
James,
this?
James, he was telling me about the ETH ETF. If you can find if they have options on the ETH ETF, James, that would be great. Would
What is
love
the
to know that
ETF?
information.
What's the ETF?
They have ETH A. Not sure. Is that the? Yeah, that's the iShares one. So that's what you want to trade. It's ETH A. So this is equivalent to IBIT.
Oh, okay. Have you dabbled in the options at all?
No, I've not. Our resident option expert, Sean, has said there's just been a dramatic influx of capital there, just incredibly liquid from the start. Um, yeah, implied volatility is not too expensive. So it's you can buy calls. You don't have to sell the premium, which I kind of naturally want to sell the premium in crypto, but it's not
Lot of
always the move.
but Sam, let's leave it here for today. But what's got your eye? What was your favorite chart from this one?
Oh boy, the ATAT.
The ATAT. Well, if you're gonna go with that one, I'll go with the Vimeo.
Yeah, those
I
are
just
great. I
really
think they're just different trades, you know. I think
totally different.
there's room for both of them.
Both speculative, both pretty speculative. It's not your Apples and your Nvidias and your ANETs and whatnot, but
Right. I'm trying to make hay while the sun is shining.
there you go. ATAT. Very interesting one there. And I mean, it fits with the China theme. It fits with the travel and leisure theme. It's just like the
Yeah.
perfect crossroads, right?
Like look at the make my
Do they
trip.
mine Bitcoin too? And do they like
Maybe.
have like
Like pull
quantum
up
mining?
MMYT. This has been the best. Like if you're in
This
a
was India,
market,
right?
yeah, if you're looking to invest overseas, like India has been the place to be. And
Yeah.
inside of India, Make My Trip has been the absolute hottest stock. So I think since they're very similar businesses, it makes a lot of sense to see ATAT.
That's a really good point. You know, this is the MMYT of China, right?
Yeah, it
I
just
shouldn't
has a
say
ton of
that,
exposure to the consumer. I think that's what we
but
want right now.
yeah, very interesting. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I will be traveling on Thursday, so it probably won't be me doing the charts, but if we missed your chart, if we missed your ticker, be sure to email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. And Sam, Alfonso, Jason, one of the crew will be sure to break that down for you on Thursday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.